Cool. So hello again, good morning. We hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to our online studio and the second episode of Tip of the Day Tuesdays. So my name is Adrienne. I'm the founder of hoola, or commonly known as Hoola Mama, and I'm also the co-founder of Yogi Athlete. But on hoola, I share Ayurvedic tips, plant-based recipes, and yoga philosophy and practice. No worries. And Amir, if you want to introduce yourself.
Oh. My name is Amir, founder of Yogi Athlete. Here for Tip of the Day Tuesday, and yeah, let's get it on.
Yeah, so Tip of the Day Tuesdays is where we share Ayurvedic wisdom to help balance mind, body, and spirit. So grab a comfortable seat, grab a cup of tea. If you're in your PJs, great, but we're super excited to have you here with us today because today we're talking about the doshas. So in Ayurvedic medicine, in order for us to fully understand how to come back to our original constitution or to come back to a balanced mind, body, and spirit, one must understand how to figure out what their body and their mind type is. So first we're going to break down what Ayurveda is, and then we'll go into the doshas. So because we're doing IG Live, you won't be able to read what we have here, but that's okay. I'm going to go through everything in detail. But if you have a journal and pen, hi Sandy! If you have a journal and pen and you want to take notes, grab that. I encourage you to take notes. But then if you have any questions, you can always reach out. So, what?
Also gonna,
oh yes, go ahead.
It's also going to be on YouTube.
Yeah, so if you ever want to refer back to what we discussed today, we're also recording on YouTube, so you can visit our YouTube channels and you'll be able to access this information at any time. Cool? So yes, let's talk about Ayurveda. What is Ayurveda? So Ayurveda is it's one of the oldest living medical sciences in the world. So it's been practiced in India for over 5,000 years. That's a really long time. It has been time tested over and over again, and it continues to remind us how to live a balanced way of life through keeping our body in balance, our mind in balance, and our soul or consciousness in alignment as well. So we'll break down the word Ayurveda. So in Sanskrit, Ayu or Ayur means life or longevity. And then Veda translates to science or knowledge. So Ayurveda literally just translates to the knowledge or the science of life. Hi Branson. So there are two main goals of Ayurvedic medicine. So the first goal is how to prevent disease or how to maintain health. And the second goal is removing the disease or healing the disease. So when we talk about the concept of health, or in Sanskrit we call it swasta, swa means self and sta means established. So that literally translates to when you are established in your own self. What does that mean? That means the original constitution that you were born with, that you were brought into this universe with. So life throws us many curveballs. It throws us and pokes and prods at us in so many ways through changes in our lifestyle, changes in our work, changes in the weather, changes in our personal environment. So all of these factors will constantly poke and prod at our constitution, causing us to go out of balance. That makes sense, but we'll break that down a little bit. So, swasta again, it means when you are seated in you, your original constitution. Everybody has a unique constitution that we are born with, and we'll go into that, and that composes of the doshas, which is today's topic. So, the definition of health, which comes from an Ayurvedic perspective, but it's very similar to the definition of health from a Western perspective too. So it is a perfect state of balance among all of these things. So the body's 3 fundamental energies called doshas, which we're going to get into, plus equally vital balance among body, mind, and soul or consciousness. Any questions about that?
So if you haven't already, just write down doshas,
Yep.
because that's the topic we're going to be talking about or discussing are the doshas.
Yep. So dosha in Sanskrit literally translates to fault. So these fundamental energies in the body are not always at fault. However, due to poor diet and poor lifestyle, it has a tendency to be at fault for causing an imbalance of your bodily tissues, your mind, body, and spirit. But with a healthy, balanced mind and a healthy, balanced lifestyle and diet, then you can maintain that balance. So when we take a look at health or healing from an Ayurvedic perspective, we take a look at nature, because there's this concept of microcosm and macrocosm. So whatever is present in the universe is also present within us, and vice versa. So we are one with nature, so we have to consider the elements that we see in everything throughout life in order to come back to balance to ourselves and understand how to bring our bodies back to balance. So there's 5 elements that are present in everything that you see around us and present in everything in our lives. So the 5 elements, Amir, what are those?
You don't put me on the spot.
Ether is the first
Ether,
one.
Air, water,
Fire, and earth.
and earth.
Yes. Ether, air, fire, water, and earth. 5 elements. So you see that in everything that we see in Mother Nature. We see that in all of the things that we have in our house. We see it in every cell, literally at the microscopic level, in every cell in our bodies. So we have to use these elements as tools for healing. So that brings us to, how does this relate to the doshas? So the doshas, there's 3 of them: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha.
Write that down. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha.
So they're all composed of these elements in a different way. So we'll break down Vata first. So the first dosha is Vata. That's V-A-T-A. So Vata is composed of ether and air. So this dosha is all about ether and air. It governs everything in the body that's related to movement. So when you have ether and air, just think about the wind against your skin, movement. So it governs all of the physical movements in the body. So we'll break down what a Vata type individual looks like, the functions of Vata in the body, and how to know when your body, or when Vata is out of balance in the body. So what does a Vata individual look like? So their body structure is very lean, very thin. They're either very tall or they're very small, but nevertheless, they have a very lean body. Complexion, so their skin tends to be really dry and rough. They tend to have chapped lips. The actions that they tend to have are very quick, very fast. They like to move, and they like to move frequently. Their personality, they're creative, they're joyful, they're spirited, and they tend to be daydreamers. Their metabolism is irregular, so they don't have a consistent appetite, and their metabolism can go up and down. Their sleep cycle is very little or broken. They tend to wake up multiple times throughout the night, and they have trouble having deep, sound, restful sleep. Their mental status, so they tend to have a hyperactive mental status. So they tend to have constant moving thoughts. Sitting in meditation might be difficult or challenging for them because they always have thoughts running through their mind. Their dreams, so they tend to have dreams of flying in the air, or dreams of being chased by something. So there's lots of movement in these dreams. When it comes to money, Vata individuals make money quickly, but then they also spend money quickly. So I like to think of a waitress, for example. They know how to juggle multiple things at once. They're making tips all throughout the day, and then they spend it very easily because they're so stressed out and they want to go out to the bars, and there goes all their tips. And some basic Ayurvedic recommendations for a Vata individual is to focus on pranayama, or focus on controlling the breath, the practice of controlling the breath, and to practice asana, so yoga postures, maybe a grounding yoga practice or some balancing poses. And also, most importantly, to slow down. So Vatas tend to turn and burn through life, so most importantly, they need to learn how to slow down. So some qualities of Vata in the body are, or in the produce that you see or things around the world, qualities are dry, light, and cold. Those are just a few to name. So when we take a look at Vata from a psychological and physiological way, how do we see Vata in the body? So Vata governs all physical movements in the body, so the movements of prana, or your breath, the movements of our bowels, the movements of the blood throughout the tissues in the body. It governs respiration, so the inhales and exhales is all governed through Vata. It governs the mind, sensory perception, motor functions, especially speech and muscular coordination. It governs the movement of thoughts, feelings, and all nerve impulses in the body. It also governs ingestion, hearing, touch, elimination of urine, feces, and sweat. And it also governs communication. So there's so much Vata throughout our body and also throughout the earth around us. So again, you'll see it in our breath. When Vata is out of balance, that might manifest as a dry cough. You see it in our colon. When Vata is out of balance, you might see that manifest as constipation. You also see Vata in the bone cavity. So when that is out of balance, you might see that as arthritis. So some other ways of noticing when Vata is out of balance: you may experience gas, bloating, constipation. You might experience tinnitus or ringing in the ears. You might experience insomnia, mental fatigue, anxiety, fear. You'll also see Vata out of balance manifest as ADHD, and you'll also see it manifest as imbalance in the body through joint pain, sciatica, or arthritis, as I mentioned before. So that's Vata. I know that's a lot of information to cover in one dosha, but these are just fundamental aspects of Vata. So just based on that, some of you might think, oh yeah, that's me, I'm a Vata individual. And if you're still kind of confused on what Vata might look like, in terms of an animal, I like to think of Vata as a hummingbird.
Oh, okay.
They're very fast and they're constantly moving, and it's hard to catch them. And when we think about an athlete, coming from a yogi athlete perspective, Amir, what kind of athlete would be a Vata individual?
I say a Vata individual would be a swimmer.
Sure? Yeah. Or a sprinter?
A sprinter.
Yeah, one that likes to run 100-meter dashes. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Swimmers too, they can be fast. Cool. If you have any questions about Vata, you can drop it in the comments, or you can also reach out to me personally. But let's move on to Pitta. Pitta is composed of fire and water. So Pitta is spelled Pitta. So when you mix fire and water together, it governs transformation in the body. Some qualities about Pitta are hot, sharp, and slightly oily. So So those are just a few to name. What does the Vata individual look like? So their body structure tends to be medium frame. Their complexion tends to be warm, moist, maybe a little bit reddish. They also tend to have freckles or moles. Actions. So when they act, it's very precise, it's orderly, and it's always goal-seeking, or it tends to be goal-seeking. Their personality tends to be highly disciplined. They're excellent leaders. They tend to be perfectionistic, and they have a very strong will. Their metabolism is very strong. They have a very high appetite, and they're constantly burning through it in a healthy way. Their sleep cycle is sound and moderate. Their mental status is medium. So what that means is they're neither hyperactive or slow acting. It's somewhere in between. Their dreams. So they tend to have dreams of fighting and aggression. When it comes to money, these individuals tend to be rich, wealthy, and they like to spend their money on luxurious things. So when it comes to Ayurvedic recommendations, it's important for these individuals to calm down, to cool down, and also to make use of coconut oil, which is cooling, and practice a pranayama called shitali, which is breathing through the tube of the tongue. So, considering pitta in the body, all the fire and water that we see on a psychological level and a physiological level. So, it governs everything in the body that is related to transformation. It governs metabolism, digestion, absorption, and assimilation of food. Pitta is manifested through intelligence, understanding, comprehension, and knowledge. So Pitta individuals tend to be very brilliant. They're so smart. They tend to be CEOs and doctors and managers of big companies. It also manifests as courage and ambition, and also visual perception. That is Pitta in the body. When to know that Pitta is out of balance in the body. You'll notice acidity in the body, gastritis, or any kind of inflammation or itis, indigestion, and heartburn. You might see it manifest as hives or a rash because of all that fire in the body. It might manifest as pink eye, and it might personally manifest as having a judgmental attitude. It might manifest as jealousy, anger, or being too overly critical.
Okay, this is when Pitta is out of balance.
Out of balance, yes. So again, we see it in the eyes, we see it in the gray matter of our brain, we see it in the stomach, and most importantly, we see it in the small intestine. So it governs all of that digestion and assimilation and absorption of nutrients. So that is Pitta. Some of you are probably thinking, oh yeah, I'm definitely a Pitta. So when it comes to thinking of an animal that has very Pitta-like characteristics, I like to think of
Cheetah.
Cheetah, jaguar, maybe a baboon because they're so fiery and sharp. And what about an athlete? What kind of athlete would you think of, Amir?
I would say a tennis player.
Yeah.
And somebody strong. Like a boxer.
Boxer or bodybuilder. They're very intense. So yeah. Good morning. So yeah, great. That is Pitta. Last but not least, we'll move into Kapha. Kapha dosha is composed of water and earth. So in the body, it governs everything stability and structure related. So a few qualities to discuss in regards to Kapha are heavy, slow, and cool. So what does the Kapha individual look like? And again, if this is backwards for you on IG Live, don't worry, we're going to go over this in detail and you can take it down in your journal and your head. So listen carefully. So Kapha individuals, their body structure tends to be very strong. They have a large, sturdy frame. Their complexion tends to be very smooth and soft. Their actions are very slow, steady, and graceful. Their personality, they tend to have a very deep and stable faith. They are very compassionate. They are filled with love. And they're very affectionate and forgiving. I know a Kapha. Their metabolism tends to be very slow. So it takes a longer time for them to break down the nutrients and absorb it through their body. Their sleep tends to be very sound and long. Their dreams tend to be about romance and sweetness. When it comes to money, Kapha individuals are the ones who make money and they save that money. They are so good at saving money. Unlike the Vata individuals who spend. Kapha individuals are the money savers. They think about saving money for all sorts of things in their future. They're good for saving money. And when it comes to Ayurvedic recommendations for a Kapha individual, the most important recommendation is to increase movement in the body. So Kapha individuals tend to be very content and cozy and slow. So to bring them to balance, they need a little more movement in the body. And avoid dairy. So dairy is very heavy, thick, unctuous, and cold, which is similar to the qualities of Kapha. So when you have a slow metabolism, those types of foods are not going to be beneficial for a Kapha individual. Okay, functions of Kapha in the body. Support and stability, lubrication of the joints, lubrication of the lymph in the brain and throughout the body, nourishment of the bodily tissues, or the dhatus is what we call it in Ayurveda. Groundedness. It governs water electrolyte balance in the body, fat regulation, strength, stamina, repair and regeneration in the body, memory retention, contentment, forgiveness, and compassion. So you'll see Kapha in the bronchial secretions located in the lungs, you'll see it in the saliva, in the mouth, and you'll see it in the white matter in the brain. Those are just some areas to notice where Kapha is present in the body. How do we know when Kapha is out of balance? So it may manifest as a cold, congestion, or mucus. It might manifest as low appetite, low digestion, poor assimilation. It could also manifest as high cholesterol, obesity, edema, swelling in the body. It could also manifest as a tumor in the body. And it may show up in your personality as greed, attachment, possessiveness, and laziness. So that is Kapha in a nutshell. When it comes to an animal that is very Kapha-like, I like to think
hippopotamus.
Oh, yeah. Deer, hippopotamus, elephants, a sloth. Sloths are very slow acting. So yeah, those are to name a few. What about a Kapha athlete, Amir? What would you think of as like very structured, heavy built?
A sumo wrestler.
Yeah, sumo wrestler.
Defensive lineman. Offensive lineman.
Yep.
Linebacker.
Yep. You don't want to mess with those guys.
Big, stocky guys.
Yep. Cool. So some of you might be thinking, I definitely relate to the Kapha dosha. So you also might be thinking, wow, I have a lot of these qualities present in me, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And you're correct. So all of us have all three doshas. We all are made up of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. What makes me different from Amir and what makes all of us different from each other is that we all have different levels of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha present in the body, thus making our individual constitutions very different from each other. So, again, doshas are the fundamental energies that govern our psychophysiological tendencies in the body and in the mind. So the reason why we discuss this important topic today about the doshas is because in order for you to find balance in the body, one must understand what is actually going on in the body and what am I actually made up of, so that I can figure out what foods are balancing for my body that I need to be focusing on, what lifestyle practices I need to be focusing on specific to my body and mind constitution, what types of breath work I should be doing, what types of yoga asana I should be doing, what types of physical activity I should be doing. All of these things are very individualized, and it all depends on who you are and what you're made up of. Cool? So again, I know this is a lot of information. If you want to refer back to it, we are recording on YouTube, so we'll post this on our YouTube channel so you can.
We'll have it on our IG Live for a while, so you guys can take notes to just look back.
Yes, and because of the global state that we're in right now, I'm happy to be offering donation-based Ayurveda health sessions. So if you want to understand what your body is composed of, what your body and mind type is, how you should be taking care of your body to prevent disease and maintain health, or to cure any imbalances going on in the body, please send an email to me, reach out via Instagram or DM. We'll attach all the links if you're watching this on YouTube, and just reach out. This is something that I'm happy to offer to you. And if you, also, because this is our online studio, if you enjoyed today's class, please feel free to send whatever donation you're capable of sending.
And if you can't do a donation, also by supporting us, you can take a screenshot of this video.
Yeah.
You can put it on your story. You can tell it to your friends.
Just spread the word.
Just spread
Word
the
of
word.
mouth is super important for us because we want to be able to help as many people as we can through these simple practices. So take a screenshot of today's class, share it on your stories, tag Hoola Mama, tag Yogi Athlete, tag Amir_Yogi Athlete, and just share it. But if you are still currently working or you do have the financial capability of donating, you can send any donation. It can be $1 to Yogi Athlete, and that's YogiAthlete, Yogi Athlete. Cool? Again, my name is Adrienne if you haven't met me before, and this is Amir. We love you all so much. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for next week's Tip of the Tuesdays.
Oh, and Wednesday, tomorrow is Wisdom Wednesday. So
we'll have our normal breathing, our breathwork and meditation class at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And then we'll have our special guest for Wisdom Wednesday as well with Arjuna with Share Necessities.
Yes.
It can be, we're going to be bringing topics for families, single parents, mom or single dad, whole families. Everyone can chime
Everyone's
in.
welcome.
Everyone
but
is
essentially the workshop is mindfulness or mindful quarantine or quarantining with family. But it could also be mindful quarantining if you are solo. But everybody is welcome. It's going to be super beneficial to understand how to navigate through this time that we're in here at home and how to just live a more balanced mind and lifestyle. So,
And that will be tomorrow at what time?
12 p.m.
Tomorrow at 12
Pacific
p.m.
Standard Time. So tune in with us at 7 a.m. for our guided meditation and breathwork class, Wisdom Wednesdays. Then we'll also have a special guest speaker, Arjuna, who will be leading the workshop, Mindful Quarantining with Family. But everybody's welcome. You don't have to be living with a family. It's open to anyone and everyone.
So, all right, y'all.
We're smiling, Stefan!